We start your 7 o'clock hour with some breaking news that we've been following for the last hour. Denver police are investigating a shooting between them and a suspect.
This happened off of South Dahlia Street and East Warren Avenue. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles is near that location. And Jennifer, we know that suspect has died.
Yes, Corey, police tell us that the suspect died after being taken to an area hospital. So we've got a couple of things here just to catch people up on if you're just tuning in. Number one, yes, a suspect died after a situation with police this morning. Number two, while the school was not involved, this happened right across from a school. And in this 7 a.m. hour on a weekday, we know people will be soon coming to drop off their kiddos. So just to be clear, we'll address that in just a moment after we talk about what happened with this shooting. Police tell us this all started here at Evans and Warren. For some context, we're just off of like Evans and I-25, so kind of southeast Denver. 4:20 this morning, police get 2 phone calls, one about shots fired and one about a domestic violence incident. So they show up at a nearby apartment, like a block or 2 down the street, and they say there was a man and a woman. The woman came toward them, but then the man saw police and took off. They chased him. They caught him. They said there was a struggle. He had a handgun in his hand. There was a couple of officers on scene, but DPD tells us that one officer fired 1 shot and hit that suspect. Again, he was taken to a hospital where he died. The woman who was part of all this, police tell us she took off. They haven't been able to connect with her since. So there's a lot of missing pieces in the story that led up to this in the first place. But police tell us that they've been trying to talk to some witnesses, and best they can tell at this point, they believe that this domestic violence situation involved both this woman and this man, that he is a suspect and that she is a victim in this situation. Again, this happened right across from a school. The end of it, I should say. The pursuit ended, the fight, the shooting all happened at a parking lot across from the school here at Highline Academy. It is not closing the street here, so if you're coming through here to drop off a kiddo, the street is open. Yes, there is a police and media presence out here this morning, but DPD tells us the school's not involved. There should be no disruptions to the day and that they are in touch with this school and its leadership. Guys, we'll continue to try to get some more information about what's going on here, and that is the latest from this officer-involved shooting this morning in Denver. Back to you.
All right, Jenny, we appreciate the information. Thank you. We're also following some more breaking news this morning. We have issued a traffic alert for a truck fire on I-70.
So this is just west of Georgetown. In the last 10 minutes, 1 lane reopened. Let's get right over to Erica Lopez with the latest.
Yeah, that's right, Jordan and Corey. So we were following a full interstate shutdown here of westbound I-70 this morning, right around Stevens Gulch Road in the Bakerville area. So like Jordan and Corey just said, past Georgetown, making your way toward the Eisenhower Johnson Tunnel area. So in the last 10 minutes, like they just said, 1 lane reopened, but this is that torched box truck this morning in the far right shoulder of the interstate. At one point, it was totally engulfed in flames. Then fire crews quickly responded out here, worked to put that fire out. There was massive plumes of smoke, though, coming from the box truck this morning. I'm sure if you're driving through the area or you live near this area, you probably have smelled some of that smoke this morning. At this point, we don't have too many details as to exactly what happened or how it caught fire, but we can still see a very active scene. And I want to show you the aftermath. Even though we've got 1 lane open, we were closed for a while. And right now, folks headed up into the high country from Georgetown in for a very, very slow ride. So if I were you, I might wait things out if you were planning on heading up to the mountains. That is, if you can. Let's show you where this is on our map this morning. So our map hasn't updated. No longer have to worry about that full closure of the interstate. But again, the closure is between Bakerville and Herman Gulch Road this morning or Herman Gulch rather, on westbound I-70 this hour. Travel for you elsewhere. If you're going to be headed out in Fort Collins, southbound I-25 and Harmony Road, we do have a left lane closure and a crash up that way. Metro area, we've got I would say mild delays on our roads, moderate delays on our roads, if you will. Yellow light here for your drive on westbound I-70, 21 minutes between E-470 and 76. So send things over to Katie LaSalle now for a look at your forecast.
Erica, thank you so much for that update. In terms of the weather outside, a lot quieter. We're under a partly cloudy sky here in Denver. A lot of sunshine. Beautiful shot from our Vera wireless camera near Holyoke. We are expecting to see temperatures not nearly as hot as over the past couple of days, so cooler, but also wetter weather is set to arrive. We're tracking a front set to move into Colorado. That'll bring us some highs near seasonal normals, and then later on this afternoon and evening, a good chance for thunderstorms and showers. But this morning, it's nice and dry, a mix of sun and clouds from Central Park out to Centennial, with temperatures sitting in the low 60s. Comfortable to start, and later on today, highs will be just a couple of degrees below our seasonal normal after a long stretch of high 90s and dry conditions. We will stay dry, as you can see as we take you through our hourly planner, until about 2 o'clock. Clouds will build. The mountains will first start to see a little of the activity. Storms will form, spreading east across the plains, and it's rounds of rain we're expecting through this weekend. I'll take you through the whole forecast and the future cast still to come.
All right, Katie, thank you. Well, today, one of the men convicted of killing a well-known community activist will be sentenced. Paul Ray was found guilty of murder and other charges in the death of Ma Kang. Kang was an East Colfax community activist and a local restaurant owner. She brought her family to Denver from Myanmar about 2 decades ago. She became a prominent leader in the refugee community here. And back in 2022, she was unloading groceries with her son when she got hit by a stray bullet from a shootout in a nearby park. The Denver DA said that Pa Ray faces life in prison without parole. Another defendant already got life in prison without the possibility of parole. 2 more pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and will be sentenced in September. Ma's death touched the East Colfax neighborhood deeply, and it also led to pushes for safety changes. At the time, DPD moved a new camera into the area and added more patrols, and 911 dispatch was working to fix issues with cell carriers after 911 calls about Ma's shooting kept getting transferred back and forth between Denver and Aurora.
Also happening in less than 2 hours, John Halford will be back in front of an El Paso County judge. He is set to be sentenced for state charges. John and Carrie Halford owned a funeral home together where they're accused of storing bodies between 2019 and 2023 and sending families fake ashes. John pleaded guilty to 191 counts of corpse abuse last November. Plea deals reached between the defendants and prosecutors call for him to receive a 20-year prison sentence. He is currently serving 20 years in prison for federal charges after pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
A terrible discovery at a Pueblo County mortuary, several decomposing bodies. State regulators found them during an inspection. Davis Mortuary is operated by Brian Cotter, the Pueblo County coroner. When inspectors entered the business, they noted a strong odor and a door hidden by a cardboard display. According to the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies, Cotter told inspectors that the bodies were awaiting cremation and admitted that some of the bodies had actually been in the room for around 15 years.
This is a profound violation of trust and a heartbreaking betrayal of the families who entrusted their loved ones to this funeral home. We are committed to getting you the answers you deserve.
According to suspension records, the mortuary has been ordered to cease operations pending proceedings. This was found because of new regulations in the funeral industry.
We now know a high school student is one of 6 people who died in an incident at a dairy farm in Weld County. Investigators say they may have been exposed to a toxic gas. This happened last night at Prospect Ranch Dairy near Keensburg. The student attended Highland High School. The local school district says the tragedy has deeply affected the school community. Southeast Weld Fire was called to a confined space rescue at Prospect Ranch Dairy just east of town. 6 men were found dead. The Weld County Coroner's Office says they're investigating whether it was the result of gas exposure. Radio communications between first responders mention a broken pipe and reports of people found with high levels of H2S or hydrogen sulfide. It's a highly toxic gas that can come from decomposing manure.
The people of Keensburg mourn the loss of these residents, whether they're in town or just a couple miles out of town. This is very terrible.
The Weld County Sheriff's Office says they're not investigating this as a crime. However, OSHA is investigating whether any safety standards may have been violated.
Hydrogen sulfide is a colorless gas that is a byproduct of the decomposition of manure. It is highly toxic, and in high concentrations, it can actually cause a person to stop breathing. As far back as 1990, federal authorities warned of the dangers posed by hydrogen sulfide. And a report in Successful Farming magazine actually showed that between 1975 and 2021, at least 288 people died in incidents in and around manure pits. The cause of these latest deaths in Weld County remains under investigation. State legislators will continue to work today to close an $800 million hole in the budget.
Those state representatives say they will not be cutting any spending, but that does not mean the governor won't. The Democrats who run the legislature plan to address the shortfall through a combination of reserve funds, tax policy changes, and future program cuts. Current state law gives Democratic Governor Jared Polis the power to dictate spending cuts in a budget crisis. Legislators are working on bills to involve the legislature in those decisions and to tweak when the governor's power takes effect.
We aren't equipped to move as quickly as the governor's office is equipped to move, right? This is like high school civics class. The executive branch moves quickly, the legislative branch is slower, more thoughtful, and better.
No one at the Capitol would confirm what kind of cuts could be coming, but earlier this year, the governor's budget director highlighted healthcare spending on a possible target.
What I'm hearing as far as the rumor mill goes, that as soon as this special session is done, that the governor is going to issue an executive order and cut Medicaid provider rates.
During the special session, lawmakers plan to change tax policy to bring in more tax dollars next year. Once that dollar amount is known, the governor will know how much needs to be cut.
Also, on the first day of the special session, a proposed first-of-its-kind artificial intelligence bill passed through committee. Senate Bill 205 won a 4-3 party line vote from the Senate Business Affairs and Labor Committee. The bill aims to create guardrails around the use of AI and its risk of bias, specifically in employment, healthcare, education, and government practice. While Governor Jared Polis signed the bill last year, he pushed for adjustments to address lingering worries this year. But during a special session concerning the budget deficit, the bill is still pricey. Its financial analysis says the Judicial Department and the Office of Information Technology would need an additional $4.5 million in general funds for this fiscal year alone.